Do you ever think about what your kids learn from you? Both what you actually try to teach them, doing up their shoes, reading, that kind of thing, but also what they learn through how you act, how you show up, and how you respond to different situations. I didn't until recently, and actually it scares me a little bit sometimes. But this is the subject of today's episode. Am I setting the right example for my kids? Let's dive in. Welcome to the Happy Thriving Mums podcast, the show that talks about the simple actions busy mums like you can take to prioritise your own health, happiness and fitness. And it doesn't stop there. This show also includes amazing stories from remarkable women who help others to be the best version of themselves. Because if you feel great, you thrive, and so does your family. So, if you're ready to overcome mum guilt, manage overwhelm, feel and look your best and create a happier, more balanced life for yourself and your family, this podcast is for you. Welcome to this week's episode of Happy Thriving Mums. So, I was thinking recently about how children learn. They are learning all the time. It was my daughter's birthday recently and she was given a new two-wheeled scooter in place of her three-wheeler. So she's grown out of that one, as they do. I loved what she said to me when I asked her how she was getting on with it. She said, "I'm still learning the ropes, but it's great." I thought what an amazing attitude this was and how I should probably try and adopt this more when I'm trying something new. That thought, I'm still learning the ropes, made me think about how I respond to different situations. Sometimes in frustration, I'll shout out or make kind of one of those noises. When I'm driving or someone else is driving and someone cuts you up, there might be some choice words that come out of your mouth or an aggressive beep on the horn. Sometimes I find it hard, or sometimes when I find something hard, I might give up or believe that I can't do it. I often don't give myself the grace or the recognition of maybe I'm just learning the ropes. As an adult, I am learning the ropes. It's almost not acceptable to be in that position that we're still learning as an adult. It's kind of like that idea that actually we should all have it figured out. But often, I know that I don't have it all figured out. I know that most of my friends don't have it figured out. Do you have it figured out? Do any of us have it all figured out? I don't think we do. And I think that we forget that, and that quite often we give ourselves a hard time thinking that we need to be perfect. We need to do everything perfectly. And when we don't, we're not very good at dealing with that. What I do know is that our children watch and learn from us. I often find as well, actually, I watch my kids and see what they're up to and I learn from them too, which I never kind of thought would probably happen. I thought when I was growing up, you look up to your parents, they do all this stuff and they teach you and that's the way it is. But actually, it's a two-way process. But there are those moments that you really realise that your children are learning from you. Those moments when they say something and actually I recoil in horror as what they have said is word for word perfect, something that came out of my mouth some time ago. I mean, sometimes this can be a good thing, like if you say something really positive and they've repeated that and you think, actually, that's great. But sometimes it's those things that you've said as a throwaway comment about something that they've picked up and stored in their brains. And it may even have been the exact replication of an action rather than something that I said, so something I did, or something that my husband did, or something that they've seen in response to TV shows. Whatever it is, the exact replication of what they say or how they act or what they do in a certain situation is often a learned process rather than an innate reaction. Children are like sponges. I'm sure you know from your kids, from what they say and what they do and how they just absorb things. They pick things up so easily, especially when they are young. They are learning so much, so frequently, that actually for kids, when things don't go to plan, it isn't a big deal for them. It's all part of the learning. As a teacher, and in my experience of teaching, we are constantly encouraging kids to evaluate what they are doing. They are asked questions like, I know in one school that I taught at, there was something called WWW, what went well, and what could be even better if. So what could be improved? How can we then come up with a plan to improve that and do things better? We would then come up with ways to get better, steps to move forward, and you encourage the children to do it again. So whether it's learning a new skill in sport, whether it's coming up with an idea when writing a story, or learning a process through maths, you think about what have they done well, what could be improved, how could we get a better answer. I am always, when I'm teaching, giving feedback to kids in school on how to improve their technique in their PE lessons, how they could use different tactics, how they could change something up and make it better. Likewise with my personal training clients, we're talking about what they could improve on, how it could get better. Kids especially though, take these things on board so well, and generally, I mean they can't do it all the time, but most of the time they always try to make a change. They try and get better. They do this every single day, and they do it all of the day in every single lesson that they are taught, in every subject, all the time. I was thinking about this and I thought, how exhausting is that? All day trying to improve, trying something out, seeing if it works. If it doesn't, trying to make it better. Can you imagine being told how to get better in things every single day? I just think it's crazy. When in life, after you've left school, after you've left college, after you've left uni, where you're always getting constant feedback and constant things that you can improve on, when now, as adults, as grown-ups, as parents, do we get so much help within our learning? I think if I had somebody at home with me or at work with me all the time giving me feedback like this every single day, by now I think I could probably be a Michelin star chef. My house would be so clean because I know all the tricks to make all those little kind of, there's always something where you try and clean it really well and it never quite works. I would know all those things. I would have this immaculate garden. I would be looking like this kind of like absolutely bronzed Adonis of a woman. If we were given feedback like this every day, all day, like our kids get at school, we would just be in this absolute crazy world. It'd be unbelievable. But we are learning all the time. We are learning all the time. And as a mum, I learn something, probably numerous things, new every single day. But we don't get the formal feedback to improve, do we? We don't necessarily, can't say that word today, get told, if you try and do it this way, it might be easier. Or if you do it this way, you might get a better result. Try this instead. How about doing it this way? But we do get feedback, don't we? Feedback is given in that slightly different way because I know as a mum, I sure know when I have done something wrong in the eyes of my children. They quite openly show that they are not happy with me. Whether it's, we all know there could be moaning, there could be squabbling, there could be shouting, there could be foot stamping. On odd occasions, things get flowing across the room. You know how it goes. We get that kind of feedback instead. But my response to this feedback can vary. So instead of thinking, actually, I'll take this on board and change, if I'm really tired, then I could act very, very differently. If I'm hungry, that could be a big game changer. But also the way that I think the feedback is given from our children in terms of the sound level, the volume of which they give so-called feedback, the tone of their voice, other things which is going on in the room at the moment. Even my response to their feedback can be changed depending on my hormones, how I'm feeling, my stress levels. All of these things affect my response. I often think, though, it is the way that we respond to different things that can set a precedent for how our kids react to different situations and what they learn and the example that we set to them of the best way or the most accomplished way or even, in some cases, the wrong way to react to different situations. Even their attitudes are shaped through what they see and how we behave to a whole range of different things. Like if you think back to when you grew up and what your parents did, how did your parents shape your thoughts and your attitudes and responses to things now? What is it that you believe now based on those experiences? I was thinking about this for myself, and I know that there was a whole range of views that I had, and some of them I still hold because actually I do really believe in them. But there's many different views that I held for many years that came from my parents. And it was a whole range of things, whether it was on money, on films, like what the best films were, what the best TV shows were, things which are good to watch, things which are bad to watch, views on politics, even to the point of thinking about what a weekend should look like what time you should get up, what you do with your weekend, who earns the money for your home, how you should parent, what language you should use, how you should speak to children, how you should speak to other adults. One of the big ones, ironing your clothes. My mum has told me on numerous occasions that she has failed because I don't iron anything at all now. But all of these experiences that you have as a child, and you learn different things from your parents, they stick with you. All kinds of things. So many of the things that I learned from growing up were really positive, and I'm so grateful for the experience that I had and what I learned. But I also know that some of the experiences and the things that I learned as a child, I don't agree with now, or I try and do things differently based on my experience and the things that I have learned. All of these things put together have led me to think about the example that I now set for kids as a mum, and also the things that I would really love them to know and learn from me as a mum. And this made me think about this on a grand scale, and I came up with a list of different things that actually I would like to try and model for my kids. I started it and I kind of found it quite tricky to start with, but actually as I went on I realised there's quite a few different things, and I'm going to share with you a few of them now. I'm not going to go through the whole list. I'm probably going to put this on some social media post somewhere because I think there's quite a lot of them. But for me, the top ones are that I want my kids to believe that anything in life is possible. I really want them to be dreamers and believers and know that if they work hard, if they take action, and if they have good attitudes to what they want to achieve in life, that it is possible. I was saying this to someone the other day, to one of my daughter's friends actually, and she goes, yeah, but that's not true. You can never ride a unicorn, can you? And I was like, well, maybe you can't ride a unicorn, but maybe you could ride a horse dressed as a unicorn. And I was trying to dress it up and come up with other ideas. But I really do believe that you can achieve anything in life. Anything is possible. It's about your mindset. It's about your approach. It's about taking the correct action to get to where you want to be. So that is the first thing in my list that I really want my kids to believe, so that they actually strive for greatness and they really try and get themselves to where they want to be, and know that as long as they've done their best, whether they make it or not, something good will come out of it. So that is the first thing. The second thing that I really want them to learn from me is that their thoughts, their ideas, their stories, their opinions are really important. They are all valid, and I want to hear them and I want to talk about them, regardless of whether they're really happy, exciting things that they are worried about. I want them to know that they can share anything with me and my husband and people that they trust, and that their thoughts, their ideas are valid, and that they should always feel that they are enough. Because that is so important. How many times I've thought about when I was growing up, and there was times when I felt kind of that I wasn't good enough or that things weren't right. I want to try and instill that in my children, that they are good enough, that everything that they think about, their ideas, their stories are really important. And I want to be that point of contact for them, to express that with them and talk through those big thoughts, those big feelings, those big ideas that they've had, and help them navigate through them in a great way. Another one on my list is about being fit, healthy and strong is key to life. Strength is key physically and mentally, and you have to learn this, you have to develop it, you have to work at it. And that the fact, if you exercise, if you are physically active, if you eat good things, all of these things are important to help you be at the best you can be. So those for me were kind of my top 3 out of the ideas that I came up with as how to set an example to my children. And I really try to model them. So I try to kind of instill in them that I'm striving for the things that I want to achieve. I've got big goals and I want to kind of help myself get there and be positive about it. I want to talk to them about things that have happened in my day, little things, big things, how I feel, when I'm sad, why I'm sad. and that's okay. And also, I really try and model being fit and healthy. I eat well, I exercise daily, and they see that I exercise. They know that that's what I do. And quite often it's seen that in the future, children who see their parents exercise, eat well, all of those kind of things, they are more likely to model that and in the future do the same, which hopefully leads them on to having a happy, healthy life. So they're just a few of my list of things that I came up with about the ones that I want to set a good example for my children. As I said, there's a few others, like there's always time for a cuddle. That's a good one that I've tried to kind of instill, especially with my little boy. He loves a cuddle. He's like, there's always time for a cuddle, isn't there? I'm like, always time for a cuddle. Because that's really important. Sometimes you just need a cuddle. It makes everything feel that little bit better. So yeah, they're just a few of my list that I'm trying really hard to model these qualities and also use language in a way that helps to embody them. And I know I don't get it right all the time. I know I have lost it on many occasions and been really annoyed for whatever, or not been able to be there as much as I should or be as present as I try for whatever the reason. But I really try hard to try and model things which I feel are really important for me as an adult, but also things that I think will help my children in the future. I just try my best, because actually trying your best is all that you can do. So this week I invite you to think about the example that you set for your kids. I don't want you to think badly of yourself if you feel that you haven't acted as you might have in certain situations. I don't want you to think, oh, I don't do this or I don't do that. I want you to think more about the future and what you can do. How, if you wanted to, from now onwards, you can show up. You can show up for your kids and you can set a great example. So 3 things that you could try to help you with this are as follows. So number 1, what you could do is you could sit down, take 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever you've got, and create your top 3 things that you would like your kids to learn from you as their mum. Is it something practical, like how to cook a certain dish? Is it something moral, about like being kind or being helpful? Is it about how you treat other people, about respect? What is it that it would be in your top 3 of setting the right example for your kids? Then how can you do more of those things in your life and model it for them, and then they can hopefully replicate it in theirs? So number 1 is for you to create your top 3 things of the examples that you would like to set for your children. My second idea for you is to sit down again for a few minutes, it could just be 3 minutes, and journal on the great ways that you already set an example for your kids. Because I know there are amazing parents. You are an amazing mum. You get up every day and you help your children to live a wonderful life. You are an amazing person just for being you. So what is it that you do currently where you set a great example already? It could be something that you do without even thinking about it. But what is it that you do, and how can you be proud of yourself for doing what you do and how you show up? So it could be something like the fact that you work and you are a working mum. As a working mum, you are setting a great example for your children that you have to go out and earn money. If you earn money, you can then do the things you want to do and the things you need to do. That is a great example. And actually, although I know I talked about this before, quite often we can experience and feel mum guilt around working and not being there all the time. But actually, doing what you do is important, and it shows your kids that actually you have to do certain things in life for you to live the life that you do. It could be something like just exercising regularly, taking the dog for a walk, going for a walk around the block, going for a run, something like that. That's a great example to your kids. Or it could even just be like talking to them about diet and how important it is to eat fruit and vegetables and why. And if you do that, just like even occasionally, that is setting a great example for your kids. So my second idea was for you to sit down and journal on the great ways and the great examples that you already set for your kids. And finally, my third idea that you could try this week is to think about how your kids set a good example to you and what you have learned or can learn from them. What do they do where you think, wow, I should try that? Like my daughter telling me, I'm just learning the ropes. I've really started to think when I find something difficult, I'm just learning the ropes and giving myself a bit of grace and a bit of kindness to just kind of like think, I'm just a learner in this process, and that's great. That's fine. So, my 3 things that you could try this week, and remember, it's not try all of them, pick one of them, give it a go. It might give you something to think about or something positive comes out of it. Number 1, make your top 3 list of ways you would like to set a great example for your kids. Number 2, journal on the great ways you're already setting a great example. And thirdly, think about how your kids setting a good example to you and how you can take that on. I don't know if you've heard of Victoria Jackson, but she's a manifestation coach, and she talks about how we are all experiencing this life for the first time. What a brilliant way to think about life. We are all learners all the time. We've never experienced this before. Sometimes each day can feel very similar, but actually every day is a new experience. And because of that, we need to give ourselves grace. We need to give ourselves time to adapt, to move forwards. And we need to think that we are always learning. And as my daughter says, we are really just learning the ropes. So remember, be kind to yourself. Do your best, which I'm sure you're doing. And always remember that you are the best at being you. You are the expert for your children, and all the wonderful things they have learnt from you are amazing. So give yourself a really big kind of virtual hug to say that you've done a great job. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you have a brilliant week.